Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Devin Skillian in for Karen Drew. First at 4, former Macomb County prosecutor Eric Smith faced a federal judge this afternoon. He was arraigned and pleaded guilty on an obstruction of justice charge. It's in connection with the ongoing investigation into corruption in Macomb County. Smith faces up to 20 years in prison. He's also facing charges of embezzlement and racketeering for his spending of $600,000 from an obscure Macomb County forfeiture fund. We'll have more on the charges coming up tonight on Local 4 News at 5. Quarterback Matthew Stafford usually lets his football playing do the talking on the field, but when it comes to racial inequality, the Lion felt the need to speak up. In a rare and candid post on the Players' Tribute, Stafford shares his feelings on racism, police brutality, and social injustice. Here's just a small sample of what he wrote in the post titled, "We Can't Just Stick to Football." Police brutality, white privilege, racism, it's all real. It's time we stop pretending or defending or just closing our eyes to what's right in front of us. We have to listen. We have to keep having these hard conversations. End of quote. You can read Stafford's full post. We've got it right here at clickondetroit.com. A Court of Claims judge has ruled on when Michigan's absentee ballots must be postmarked in order to be counted for the election. The new ruling says clerks must accept ballots postmarked by November 2nd. At least 2.3 million absentee ballots have already been requested. The judge says this is necessary due to the pandemic and chronic delivery delays. Results did not have to be certified until 14 days after the election, but this ruling is likely to be appealed. Clerks can start sending out the absentee ballots next week, so it's something we'll be following obviously very closely. Now the latest on coronavirus here in Michigan. Today an autopsy report finds the baby thought to be Michigan's youngest COVID victim actually died of complications from a birth defect. 2-month-old from the Upper Peninsula was born with his intestines located outside the body. He tested positive for COVID-19 a few days before his death, and hospital staff reported the virus had contributed to his passing. However, the final autopsy report says COVID was not the immediate cause of death. We asked the state to comment on the case. Spokesperson said they are unable to provide any additional details and were unable to confirm or deny that the baby is the one referenced by the state's chief medical executive, Dr. Janae Caldoun, at the governor's press event earlier this week. Meantime, here are the latest coronavirus numbers. The state announcing 695 new cases with 6 more lives lost over the last 24 hours. State also reports hospitalizations are stable with about 3% of active cases, meaning hospitalizations. That's the lowest rate we've seen since we've been tracking dating back to mid-April when it was 17% of the cases. 7-day moving average for daily cases right now is 651, and that's the lowest that we've seen in about 2 weeks. Now, new today, the CDC has reversed its controversial guidance on testing asymptomatic people for the coronavirus. The updated guidance now says those who were exposed to an infected person for at least 15 minutes need to be tested even if they don't have symptoms. That move comes nearly a month after the agency said those who've been exposed to the virus but didn't have any symptoms did not necessarily need to take a test. We have reached the 6 months mark since the coronavirus hit the state, and the virus hit the Detroit Police Department particularly hard, including, you may recall, Police Chief James Craig. Chief says the fight against the virus is not over.
This team doesn't take it lightly. At one point, the Detroit Police Department had 650 members quarantined. Of that number, I want to say it's probably up to about 330 right now, myself included, who have tested positive. We just had a lieutenant who was recovering. It was tricky at first. He was in the hospital, but he's doing well now. So the real threat of COVID is there, and we just have to stay vigilant.
This morning, the DPD welcomed its newest class of officers at Campus Martius Park downtown. Everyone, as you can see, wearing masks and sitting socially distantly due to the ongoing pandemic. The U.S. plans to start blocking distribution of the popular apps TikTok and WeChat this Sunday. That means no new downloads. TikTok will work for a few more weeks. The ban on crucial services doesn't actually start until November 12th. WeChat's ban, however, goes into full effect on Sunday. The decision stems from the app's ability to collect huge amounts of data from users and their connections to China's military and intelligence services. So says the government. It was a spectacular find in Rochester Hills as some forgotten art is discovered in a house that was being flipped for a resale. And in this case, it was the contractors who flipped when they realized what was uncovered. Paula Tutman has a fascinating look at this rediscovered native art.
I think the coolest thing about this story is just the idea that there is still treasure out there to be found, to be stumbled over, to be discovered. Galerie Camille in Detroit is currently the home of found treasure. Inuit art, colorful, vibrant, important. These prints from originals were found in a waterlogged, dilapidated house in Rochester Hills that was being rehabbed when numerous native artifacts were uncovered and discovered.
Obviously, these pieces have great aesthetic, great composition, great feelings, and that's why when we get it, we are working in it, and at the same time, we are trying to represent it and know more about each individual artist.
And we were very excited that they didn't throw them out. A lot of times these stuff sometimes end up getting thrown out.
Thus far recovered 35 paintings and drawings.
And we were so excited. And me as an artist, I mean, they are so beautiful.
The art, exquisite and exciting for so many reasons.
It comes from a region from Inuit, and also some of the artists are very thought after, and they have a clout in the modern, in the modern art world. It actually is the true art of all because it speaks from the soul, and all of these artists are not trained, so they're not motivated by money or anything else, so they really paint or draw from the soul.
Eventually they will be shown at the gallery, but right now just restoring them is a process.
Some pieces had molds, some pieces had folds, some pieces have stain. So the first thing we thinking is to do the conservation.
And how did these treasures find their way to a house in the burbs of Detroit? Well, the gentleman who owned the house previously was an aficionado and a collector.
I guess he was an art teacher, and he was a collector of art, and he was very interested in Inuit art. So he started collecting Inuit art. I mean, there was some other art too in the house that they found. But most of it are all damaged.
He passed on, only to leave the treasure accidentally buried, only to be found by people who will love it all over again. Paula Tutman, Local 4.
What a gorgeous find. Now, a monetary value is still being assessed, but apparently stumbling over these kinds of artifacts is not all that rare. And if you ever find something that looks like a piece of history, don't trash it. Bring it to Gallery Camille, the art gallery in Detroit, so that it can be assessed. And we'll put a link to that on all of our social media platforms. Wow, really cool. All right, might need an extra blanket. Might find the heat coming on. Now, Ben Bailey off, and that leaves Brandon Rue to give us the news of a frost advisory. And we're still in summer, Brandon.
We are, yeah. We still have a few days left, Evan, and what a beautiful night here. Every bit of fall as we slowly move our way toward the autumnal equinox. But we do have some Friday night football out there. Maybe you've got some plans to be out and about. So let's get going on your Finally Friday. We are live here in Grosse Pointe Woods, but we're showing you Windsor to downtown Detroit, and temperatures in the upper 50s to low 60s. 62 Ann Arbor, 63 Adrian, it's 60 Metro, and 59 Pontiac. Those northeast winds are a little pesky. Not quite a wind chill, but it certainly feels cool. If you're heading out to football games, light jacket, sweatshirt, yes. Maybe an extra blanket on the bed, as Devin said. 57 degrees through most of your evening. Sun sets at 7:37 p.m. Frost advisory, it's for all of us. Tonight, through 9 a.m. on Saturday. And these aren't as impactful as our spring frosts when we've planted a lot and the farmers have a lot to lose. But again, tonight through 9 a.m. Saturday, some of our suburbs Saturday morning could be in that 34-degree range. That is enough for frost to start covering stuff. So if you have uncovered new or sensitive vegetation, you can get that into the garage or cover it up. How about those western wildfires? Getting some relief from rain moving into the Pacific Northwest. Thankfully, just a little bit of help can go such a long way, but really not much going on here. Big old area of high pressure, Big Blue H, our hero, as we get set for the next couple of days, which will be on the cooler side, but very nice. We are waking up to temps in the 30s to low 40s. We should hit 63 degrees Saturday afternoon, and really don't have a whole lot going on here. The computer model through the afternoon tomorrow still have a northeast wind, so we'll get an occasional cloud or two in our north zone east side from Lake Huron, but not much. A lot of sunshine and calmer conditions on Saturday, so it is going to be just an idyllic fall-like day. Sunday looks great as well. We're starting to warm up as we head into fall. We're also tracking Teddy, and this is a big storm out in the Atlantic, Category 4, but its movement will not be impactful to the United States as a direct hit. It just will act as a blocking pattern all the way through the weekend and at least the first half of next week. So the weekend is chilly in the mornings and 60s in the afternoon. We're 70 Monday, 75 on Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Tuesday, the autumnal equinox. Fall begins, and we warm up to near 80 degrees Tuesday, Wednesday. There it is, Devin. These are classic conditions for great fall colors. Cool overnight sunshine during the day.
I love that the first full day of fall will be warmer than any of the last 5 or 6 days of summer. You got it.
Absolutely.
All right, Brandon.
Irony.
Yeah, it sure is. All right. Well, we are just 3 days away now from a new season for the Ellen DeGeneres Show. The talk show host hoping to put a turbulent summer behind her. Perhaps you've heard about the allegations of a toxic work environment on the Ellen Show. Next week, she will talk about what's been happening behind the scenes for the first time. So the fall season kicks off Monday, 3 p.m. Ellen's first special guest, comedian Tiffany Haddish, a must-see episode coming up on Local 4 on Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us for our online edition of First at 4. If you're a golf fan, we continue with live coverage of the U.S. Open on Local 4 right now through 7 p.m. But you can see Local 4 News at 5 and 6 online here at clickondetroit.com. And Kimberly Gill and I will be back on Local 4 tonight at 11, of course. We hope to see you then. So have a great afternoon and evening.